Come, mortals. Enter my realm, if you dare.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Thank you for joining me here today for my 6.1 playthrough. And we're just going to do a quick recap. The last episode we ended up running through the latest dungeon, which was very unique. It was actually a lot of fun, and like it was all kind of, you could tell it was from Thavnar. Like everything about it was just, I don't know, I had a lot of fun. It was just so many new mechanics and everything, and I'm looking forward to actually running through it again. But even though we did end up finding the treasure, it turns out that Vrtra knew all about it. So Vrtra was well aware of this place, of all the treasure, but most importantly, we found something like at the very end of the trail where we had some kind of Hainish, some kind of Hunnish like device, like a giant furnace. We've seen similar devices like in Vashahn, but this particular one was used to contain an actual void gate. Like, it's a very small, tiny little void gate. I'm not really sure if anything other than like maybe a little kid or a Lalafell might be able to fit through it, but yeah, so I think Vrtra owes us a few answers here, like a couple explanations. So I think that's where we're going to pick up right now. So let's go ahead and turn this back in. Here we go. Okay, so we have Claire. We're picking up immediately where we left off. And you can actually see the void gate in the distance. And I'm completely at a loss here. I honestly don't know. A brother's grief. Y'shtola is apprising the void gate with a scarletly eye. Oh, they use this music for it. Did they have to? Like sad dragon music.
I must admit, I am deathly curious to know how a void gate came to be hidden in the depths of these ruins.
To tell that tale, we must first peer far to the south, and even further into memory. An age 5 millennia passed when the Algan Empire sent an invading force to the shores of Merasidia. The southern people rallied around the commanding figures of Bahamut and Tiamat and fought fiercely to repel the would-be conquerors. With Bahamut's defeat, however, the tide turned against them. Desperate to seize any advantage, the Mercidians resorted to summoning primal entities.
You know how well that turned out.
In response, Emperor Zande forged a covenant with the Cloud of Darkness, sovereign among the all-devouring denizens of the Void. Thus bolstered by icons on one side and Voidsent on the other, the two armies clashed in a battle of unspeakable carnage. So much death. So much loss.
I consider myself well versed in that period of history, yet you speak as one who witnessed it happen.
Indeed, I did. I heard Tiamat's roar of defiance and sped toward that war-torn land. Along with my sibling, Ashdaya.
Did you forget how old dragons are?
We dragons are not male or female as men are wont to classify, but elder sister is the closest a mortal tongue can come to describing what she meant to me.
Oh.
I was the last of our brood to hatch, and Ashdaya cared for me where my sire could not. Thus, I was with her when Tiamat roared. I was with her when she journeyed south, and I was with her when she fought against the Void-sent hordes.
Whoa.
Yet no matter how many of their vile fiends we cast down, more rose from the abyss to take their place. Faced with an unwinnable war of attrition, Ashdaya risked her all on a final gamble. She plunged through the Void Gate itself to strike at the root of their strength.
No.
I tried to follow in her wake, determined to lend what aid I could. But even as I came upon Alag's glittering tower, I saw the rift close behind her. And Ashdaya has been lost to us ever since.
I find I must retract my earlier claim of historical knowledge. Nowhere in the Crystal Tower's archives did I see mention of such noble sacrifice.
That does not surprise me. To Allagan eyes, it must have seemed as if a lone dragon, driven to madness, simply dove through the gate and did not return. For my part, I spent long years searching for the means to reunite with Ashdaya. Until I could search no more. Until Alag was dust, and the art to open a void gate large enough to accommodate a dragon forever lost.
Yet you have the beginnings of a gate right here, under the control of a harnessed device.
My discovery came before Vashahn was founded. Though I scoured the lands for a method to cross the rift, it was beneath the sea that I chanced to find a natural planar fissure. It was, however, far too narrow to admit a worm's bulk. Only after our city rose upon the rock, and I could enlist the aid of our talented alchemists, did matters take a favorable turn.
So Vashahnn's just under 5,000 years old then.
Their dedication was beyond reproach. Tirelessly they worked to expand the fissure, and after decades of toil, it finally grew to a size that a child might pass through.
Oh, is that why he chose that form?
Not long ago, you told us that you called out to your kin, that Ashdaya's answer was silence. I suspect the conclusion to your tale is not a joyful one.
With hope in my heart, I used a simulacrum to cross the threshold. But no, I did not find her. What I found was a host of void scent, clamoring around the opening they had sensed. 'Twas but a moment, but enough. I had no choice but to retreat and allow the portal to contract once more.
The gate was a threat to your people. You had to decide between endangering Vashahn and abandoning your sister. You chose the latter.
'Twas not that thy siblings scorned thy call. 'Twas that she was trapped beyond a barrier through which neither roar nor dragon may pass. Even now, in the desolate world of the 13th.
I can scarce imagine your pain, yet it was wise not to linger in that place. Too long a sojourn, and even a being of your power risks being warped into a creature of the void. You've seen this phenomenon before, when we stepped into the darkness.
Why Nero turned purple. Yeah, I remember.
As did I. Were it not for Une and Doga, or Nero for that matter, we might never have made it home. Do you remember what happened to Nero? How his wounds allowed the void's corruption to enter his body and twist his ether? Had it been allowed to progress much longer, I presume he would have been fully transformed.
Then there is little hope for Ashdaya.
Raha, you and your big mouth.
Ah, no. I hadn't meant to. I speak only of possibilities. The scales of the first brood are extraordinarily resistant to ethereal fluctuations. They are the protective talisman's core components after all, and even the corruption I described would struggle to overcome. Of course. With the warding scale in one's possession, one could conceivably survive a stay in the 13th without being warped by its energies.
Really?
Be that as it may, it is too late to rescue my sister. 5,000 years too late. And now countless others look to me for guidance and protection. So when I sensed intruders in the ruins, I came only to ensure that the gate remained closed. That, and to secure the treasure, of course. I wish only to forget the rest.
What was that look for, Y'shtola? She looks upset that the gate was being closed off. What's with her? Wow, that's something. Millennia have passed since last I saw her, but I still see Asdaya in memory still, clear and vivid. 13. What chaos must consume that world? Vrtra's grief for a lost sibling will be no mystery to Estinian. His hath been a life entwined with sorrow, even before he became host to Nidhogg's essence. Yeah, because he had a little brother at one point. Wondered how one of the first brood could simply vanish and leave no trace of her passage. Now I have my answer. I have long since wondered about that. So they managed not only to expand the fissure, but also manipulate it as one might a gate. Astonishing. Is there any chance I could learn more of how this feat was accomplished? I will tell you what I can. First, however, I must return to the High Crucible and arrange to replace the Guardians you so handily destroyed. It will not do to leave the gate unguarded. Ah, my apologies. We were perhaps a touch zealous in our rush to uncover the vault's secrets. If the constructs can be repaired, we would be happy to offer our assistance. That will not be necessary. Much as I retain spare vessels for myself, we keep duplicate guardians on hand for such eventualities. In any case, we should return to Vashahn. Okay, I was not expecting anything to do with the Void or like the rest of the first brood. But Asdaya was the last dragon that we did not know anything about. I mean, we know about the fates of the others and even met a few of the others, but Asdaya was always the one that was the most mysterious because we knew next to nothing. We didn't even know if she was like male or female or anything. All we knew for sure was her name. Wow, so now we know why. I kind of figured that maybe she had gone like to a different part of the source, like maybe like to the New World or something. But I always found it strange that Vrtra kind of traveled on his own until he came to Thavnar. And he settled here. Oh, okay, now I get it. So that fissure was probably the reason why he settled here to begin with. And then that led to, like, the wandering tribes to come over here, and basically where eventually Vashahn would rise up. So that explains it. There is much about the Void Gate that I cannot even begin to explain. I must convince Vrtra to share everything he knows. Okay, Y'shtola, you're starting to worry me here. Vrtra speaks as if Asdaya is a lost cause, but I wager he feels differently in his heart of hearts. Yeah, I bet so. While I'm loath to keep Cryo waiting much longer, I cannot bring myself to leave before hearing more of Vrtra's tale. Oh yeah, I want to know more. To was a most enjoyable expedition, for which I am grateful. As for mine evaluation, I shall impress upon the Loperettes that a treasure vault is incomplete without daunting Sentiels to test the mettle of any would-be intruders. Fair enough. Wouldn't be much of a treasure vault without it. I promise we will discuss the Void Gates further, but first I must attend to the matter of the Vault's Sentiels. As your instructions have no doubt informed you, the Capiculu has been reduced to so much scrap. Please bring a new one out to storage and see that it is conveyed to its post along with some few lesser constructs. Was it tomb robbers? Fiends born of the Tower of Zot? By the sisters, do not tell me a blasphemy yet roams free. Say nothing, Claire. Say nothing. They look so guilty. Why such guilty faces? Surely it isn't you who are responsible for this. Oh. Well, the details aren't important. I shall see it done immediately. Yeah. The less questions you ask, buddy, the better off you'll probably be. Okay. And with that, the vault will soon be secure once more. Now I believe you had questions. Quite a few, in fact. But I'd like to begin with the gate itself. It is still functional, yes? Indeed, which is why I saw it sealed with an alchemically forged lock and warded it with my magics. Such power must not fall into the wrong hands. In truth, the primary reason for the vault's construction was to keep the gate hidden from the outside world. So much effort for such a little door. That little door you speak of leads to an abyss teeming with unspeakable horrors. That said, in its current state, it would admit only the lowest of void sense, and from this side, no man would be able to pass through. No man? I think Alphino would fit given a firm enough push. Physical size is only one consideration. The true restrictions hinges upon the etheric density of the soul in transit. And yet you succeeded in expanding this diminutive portal and sending your simulacrum to the 13th. Thanks to my brilliant alchemists. I should have destroyed the anomaly when I found it, but instead I bade them devise a means to control it. After much experimentation, they accomplished the impossible. A method was conceived by which my magics could manipulate the fissure and transform it into a serviceable gate. But the process has long since been forgotten. Once I have given up searching for Ashdaya, there was no need to preserve such escharotic and dangerous knowledge. Thus has the gate lain dormant, for years uncounted. Our own passage to the 13th was made relatively simple thanks to the Crystal Tower. An ancient mechanism channeled the tower's vast stores of energy to open a void gate, one bound to a covenant made with the Cloud of Darkness. Once that sovereignty entity was beaten back, however, the covenant was broken, and the doorway severed from its connection to the fold. Theoretically, it should be possible to reconnect the gate by forging a new pact with another void sense, but such deals usually end in betrayal and death. In any case, we should attempt to gain an understanding of the Bounty Gate. Mayhap you could resume your search for your sister. As I have already explained, I put those futile hopes to rest centuries ago. My place and my duty is here now. I meant to ask, what prompted you to search for the vault in the first place? Well, we could throw Estinian under the bus, but come on, we're in this together, so we just wanted to see if the legends were true. As you have seen, the fabulous wealth from the stories is quite real, if not its rumored origin, but I'm afraid I must ascertain a prior claim. I've been adding to that trove for years, little by little, but the time has come to spend it, that I might alleviate my people's suffering. And we have one mind. We had no intention of taking it for ourselves. Isn't that right, my friend? Yeah, though you might be out of a bit of coin, Estinian. Your Excellency, would you object if I were to conduct a closer examination of the gate? I will make no attempt to open it, of course. I owe you and yours a debt that can never be repaid. Whatever boon you ask of me, you shall have it. You might regret that. You are most gracious. I shall take full advantage of your permission. Would that I could join thee in thy study, but the Loporrits will be anxious to receive my reports. I beg my leave of you. I must be off to Charlian as well. Mistress Kryl was eager to speak with you about that request, so please come back to the annex as soon as you are able. Farewell for now. Aww. So now it's just the 4 of us. Or I guess 3 of us with the Scions. We can discuss my findings once I return. You will not be rid of me so easily. Now undertake the Chronicle. Oh, okay. So that must be what Kryl wanted to talk about. So we need to go back to Charlene if we want to unlock that, which we will when we're done here. I hope you enjoyed the expedition, at least. Otherwise, it was a heavy purse to pay for a treasure map leading to a treasure we couldn't keep. Oh, I'm sure that he'll pay you back. The difficult part in all of this will be deciding how best to put the riches to use. Will you lend me your assistance in these deliberations? Really? Of course we will. Hopefully you won't remember the constructs we destroyed. Thank you, Claire. Claire and I are in this together. I will follow her example. Ah, good man, Estinian. I feel like he really enjoys her company. I really do. So it's nice to see them actually getting along. What's this? Meanwhile, elsewhere? What's this? What the heck is this? Another void sense? Well, he's kind of built like Varus. What is this? So is this like the new villain for like season 2? I see different elements. No. No way. Oh my god. Golbez? No, that can't be Golbez. No way. That can't be him. Can it? Throne of Earth? I sense the breaching of a gate. It was not instigated from this side, just thrown open from the other. Okay. I too felt it. A rare occurrence, yes, but such a tiny portal is beneath our notice. There are more pressing matters at hand. An opportunity is upon us, the coming of which we have awaited for nigh on 10,000 years. We dare not let it slip our grasp. Okay, this is definitely in the void! Yet we must not underestimate she who bested the cloud of darkness. Even restrained by a covenant, the cloud was no feeble wisp to be dispersed by some flesh and blood mortal. Ah, let her come. I will drown the world and watch this fledgling gasp for breath in her final moments. Well, she can breathe underwater, so joke's on you. Your zeal is admirable, but forget not our cause. Knight in black. Think back to our struggles beneath the sunless sky. Remember why we creed not our will to fight. Cede not our will to fight. This time we set the war in motion and win redemption for our star. Oh my god, that is Golbez! Or at least a look-alike. Oh my god, were those the 4 fiends? Golbez and the Four Fiends. No. What? What was that? No, no, no. Don't cut away from that. What the hell was that all about? No, no. I'm pausing it right there. I'm pausing it right there. Because I need to say something. What the hell? Seriously, what the hell? In case you don't know, Golbez was an enemy from Final Fantasy IV. And everyone was so excited when Endwalker was first released and we found out we were going to the moon. Everyone was on board that we were going to get a ton of Final Fantasy IV references. And oh my god, we have Golbez? It can't be the same Golbez, but then again, I mean, we've had Lightning and Noctis come here, and it was definitely them from the Final Fantasy series, but it can't be the same Golbez, can it? Because Golbez was one of those characters, I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but Golbez was one of those characters that you love to hate, but you can't really bring yourself to hate him. Because once we find out, like, who he really is and everything, and what happened, and, like, the tragedy that was his life, and, like, the four fiends were, like, these really powerful monsters that kind of at his beck and call, and they cause a whole bunch of trouble there. So, I had been wondering about this. The Chronicles of a Realm. I was wondering, like, what our other trials are going to be. We already have Zodiark, Hydaelyn, and the Endsinger, but I was wondering, like, what were they going to add here? Because previously we had, like, the Four Lords. We also had, what was after that? The weapons, like the Jeweled Weapons series, I guess. So I was just wondering, like, what was going to be about this? Like, okay, so we had the Warring Triad from Heaven's Ward. We had the Four Lords from Stormblood, and we had like the weapons quest line from Shadowbringers. I'm starting to get the games confused, sorry. But yeah, I'm willing to bet that the Four Fiends are going to be like the new Trial series. That would be awesome, but that would require like the Chronicles of a Realm kind of being mandatory at this point. And I'm all for it. I got no problems with that. I mean, they did the same thing with, like, the Crystal Tower and the Eden quest line, so I'm just ranting at this point. I'm sorry, I just couldn't help it, but I just love that idea. I love the idea that we're going to have, like, something involving Golbez, if it really is Golbez. I mean, he was probably one of my favorite. I don't want to use the term villain. I prefer the term antagonist. And I'm really glad that we're going to see at least something to do with it, if assuming like I mean, he's known as the Knight in Black, so he might not even be going as Golbez, but there's definitely a lot of references there. Okay, so that's out of my system. Let's continue on. Okay, here we go. We're back, and let's go on with the next quest, which is Sharing the Wealth. Vashahn wishes to discuss the distribution of treasure. Okay, shall we begin? If we are to spend the treasure wisely, then we must first determine which groups would benefit most from the momentary assistance. Some of my citizens may find it intimidating to speak with the Subtrap directly, so I would ask that you act in my stead. Claire, you are to visit Akaili and Yidamad. Speak with Matsia and his people and listen to their grievances. Estinian, I bid you do the same at Palika Stand. I will be conducting my own inquiries at the Giant Skull grounds. Once you believe that you have ascertained the needs of the populace, we can reconverse at the Megaduta. I feel like I'm getting a little bit better at pronouncing these names. Okay, so let's head to Yadima first. I love the music here. I really do adore it. Why is it whenever I play like the main scenario, it's like the weather's always bad? Oh, I'm kind of sore at this mount. I ended up going on and taking on Chi again, and just before we crushed him, I died, and I accidentally ended up teleporting back, so I missed out on all that nice stuff, so I'm kind of annoyed. Matsuya? Oh, Claire, I was so glad to see you had returned unharmed. You finished with the boat then? Yes, thank you for that. Anything the village desperately needs. Well, I suppose Kazal's loss hit us the hardest. I've been trying to find buyers for my fish, but although I sell a few here and there, it's so much more difficult than it was before. Everyone's still struggling to rebuild their lives. For now, we're just banding together as best we can. Interesting. We just came from Yedamon, and now we have to go back. I'm sorry, I can't help but keep thinking about Golbez. I really can't help myself. Okay, here we go. Oh, I know this guy. Greetings and welcome, traveler. This is your first visit to Thavnar, then you must try my special Amira Lassi. Its refreshing zest cannot be beat. What could such a wonder cost, you wonder? Normally I part with 3 bottles for the generous price of 19,800 gil, but for you, I am willing to go as low as an even 10,000. You'll be practically stealing from me. He hasn't learned his lesson. Stealing at that price, you only thief around here. Still not turning a profit these days. Times are harsh, my friend. The world may no longer be on fire, but we are still shifting through the ashes, so to speak. Sister, spare me. We might as well have that ugly tower back for the scant few travelers we see these days. I myself barely have the coin to buy at local prices. I tell you, if I didn't charge the odd adventurer a small fortune for afternoon tea, I'd be salvaging for scraps in the streets. Salvaging for scraps in the streets. Yeah, too bad we didn't bring Estinian along. You'd think he would have recognized us, though. Mostly because we were the ones who kind of told him off before, though we really couldn't talk because we were about to throw up. Ether sickness. How fares the ports? Well, it's in shambles, isn't it? The trade routes are open once more now that the danger has passed, certainly. But no small number of merchants have had to sell their ships to make ends meet in the short term. Add to that, the sailors we lost in the final days. It's little wonder the flow of exports is no more than a pitiful trickle. If Ghazal and his consortium were still with us, I'm sure he'd have found a way to turn our fortunes around. Now, there was a man who got things done. God's rest his soul. Okay. Understand the populace hardship, so let's go speak with Vashahn. I keep wanting to say Vrtra, I really do. So, I mean, I'm not an expert at this, so I would definitely think about getting maybe some more ships. Then maybe offer these ships to anyone who wants to take on the role of maybe fishing or trading. That would help build jobs, which people desperately need right now. I don't envy Vrtra's position right now. I mean, he's a dragon, so... I mean, he's a wise, immortal dragon, so he probably has a better grasp on things than I would, but... It would seem my stent on Vrtra's back did not go unnoticed. I couldn't take 2 steps before another Thavnian was thanking me profusely for saving their home. Ah, my advisor's returned. I've just made it back myself. Why do you retain this vessel now that your true form is known? You could have just flown across the island in a fraction of the time. Be that as it may, the sight of a massive creature descending from the sky can be startling to say the least, and there are a few places I can enter comfortably without risk of flattening some cart or stall. Yes, Estinian. Fair enough. As for my inquiries, the people of Palakistan were unanimous in their reply. They are surviving. Resources were stretched to the limit when refugees were pouring in, yet they persevered with some assistance from Yedimad. From what I understand, they have always been an independent community, hunters and foragers and the like, and I was sure that the jungle provides for their needs, for the most part. Palakistan has weathered the disaster better than most, it seems. I myself heard good news and bad. The quarrymen were cautiously optimistic, having just sold a full wagon of giant skull to a foreign trader. But such visitors are few and far between. Compared to our best years, the weight of stone leaving Thavnar has been light indeed. Our nation is small and isolated, its prosperity dependent on the steady stream of exports. We must identify any obstacles to the flow of trade, so we may begin working to remove them. Tell me, what did you learn in Akiai and Yidamad? I see. Without a dedicated buyer, the average fisherman must struggle to offload his daily catch. Which is why I believe we should first address the lack of ships and shortage of able-bodied sailors in Yedimad. I am reminded of a child I spied as I made my way back to the palace. His father lost at sea when the beast sunk their ship. So many variations of the same tragic tale, repeated over and over. So many lives lost. Aww. Enough grief to drown in as we let ourselves be overcome. But we will not. Claire, Stinian, I will consider the perspectives you brought with me and devise a plan to help my people confront this adversary. Come, I would like you to be in attendance while I announce the proposal to my assembled functionarity. Well, this will be fun. Is it going to be like in his dragon form or as Vashahn? Oh, it's both.
I thank you for your attendance. The riches the Radiant Host have retrieved were hoarded in Al-Zadar's name. A fortune I set aside for a future day of need. And lo, that day hath come. Made aid our wounded city in reclaiming its vibrancy and vigor. In better times, I would leave such a task to our capable Ahawan. God's rest his soul. Finding myself bereft of his counsel in the here and now, I will assume the responsibilities of mine office directly. Firstly, the treasure shall be sold for more convenient currency. Thence, invested into the trading port of Yedlamad. Our merchants must have their operations restored, their ships rebuilt. Commerce must flow once more. None was spared the tragedy of the final days. Of this, I am well aware. But an absence was created by the loss of Karazal's consortium. And by filling it, we provide new means for our fishermen, our artisans, and others to bring their wares to distant markets.
And what of the children who were left without family to care for them?
That is a concern which weigheth heavily upon my mind. The simple gift of coin will soon be exhausted, leaving young souls adrift on the fringes of our society. Nay, a proper solution is needed, one which doth guarantee their welfare for years to come. Thou hast surely seen how other nations rise to meet this challenge, adventurer. What dost thou deem the wisest course?
Asking us. Taxes levy on the trade routes, takes a village. Vashahnn's orphanage and the Firmament's orphanage. Huh. I don't know. I mean, it's not like we could just take them to some random village. And Vashahnn's orphanage may not be the best route. The Firmament's orphanage was built as part of a communal restoration effort. Yeah, let's go with that one. I like that one.
Of course, the revival of trade can contribute to the building of a new institution. Let us put this idea into practice. A contract shall be written, requiring all who receive of Vrtra's treasure to commit a portion of their future earnings towards the running of an orphanage. Now, such an influential policy is deserving of a worthy name.
Something with Kazal seems appropriate. Why not?
A fitting candidate. Kazal should be remembered, not as the blasphemy which terrorized Thavne, but as a hard-working and generous man who brought much wealth to our shores. Do any among you object to this proposition? Many here lost loved ones to the beasts.
In that time of strife, any one of us could have broken. Any one of us may have been taken by despair. When I think of Khalzal, I feel no hatred. Only a stinging regret that we could not save him as well. Isn't that right, men?
This bodes well for that boy. Murad, was it? Perhaps he can cut ties with that shady peddler.
Then let it be done. Henceforth, this initiative shall be known as the Khalzal Foundation.
Not what I was expecting, but hey.
Nabdeen, thou art to assemble a patrol and ensure that no child in this city liveth in squalor. Clerks, see to the management of our funds and make haste. Our citizens must not suffer a day more than is necessary.
Dragon and man, side by side in pursuit of a brighter morrow. Reminded of Ishgard.
That was nice. Happy ending. Well, for now. There's still a lot that we're going to have to do here. Learn about the Void Gate and everything. Okay, so let's just take that. And I think we'll cut it there for now. Unless there's like any other cutscenes. Doesn't look like it. Looks like that's it for right now. Vrtra is warming to his role as Sutra. All those years behind the curtain were not spent napping. Okay, next one. Bridging the Rift. But we'll, like I said, we'll call it there for right now. So, yeah. I kind of ranted about this before, over the whole concept of Golbez and what might be the Four Fiends. We don't know anything for sure. I'm really excited, though. I was not expecting anything to do with the Void, at least not this soon. I was kind of expecting that we get more information about, like, you know, Mericidia and the New World, and maybe spend some time, like, exploring it here and, like, the rest of Ishabard or something like that. No, that's not at all what we got so far. So, it's way too early to say. Definitely way too early to say, like, yeah, the next expansion's going to take place in the 13th. I mean, as cool as that would be, we're definitely getting ahead of ourselves. But, yeah, that's going to be it for right now. So, I'm just going to pause it right there. And I hope that you're looking forward to the next video. So, I think that we're on... I kind of lost track. I think that was the 6th quest, so there's only like a couple more left. There's only like 4 more left. Oh well. Anyway, that's going to be it for right now. Thank you so much for watching, and this is Fantasy Girl signing out.